The Vietnam War officially ended in 1975, but financially it never ended. The United States didn't just lose 58,000 soldiers, it lost something far more invisible: money, power, and global trust. At its peak, America was spending more than $2 million per hour on Vietnam. By the end, the total cost exceeded $168 billion in 1970s dollars. Adjusted for today, over $1 trillion. But the real cost wasn't just measured in dollars, it was measured in inflation, broken institutions, and a global financial shift that changed the world order. Welcome to the deeper ledger of war. Unlike World War II, the Vietnam War was never fully funded through taxation. President Lyndon B. Johnson tried to fight two battles at once: a war in Southeast Asia and a great society welfare expansion at home. Instead of raising taxes aggressively, the government borrowed, the Treasury issued bonds, the Federal Reserve kept liquidity flowing, and the public barely felt the cost at first. War was happening 8,000 miles away. The bill was quietly accumulating at home. This was the first modern American war financed primarily through debt, not sacrifice. And debt has consequences. By the late 1960s, inflation began rising. More government spending meant more money in circulation. But productivity wasn't rising fast enough to match it. The result? Prices climbed. Wages struggled to keep up. Confidence weakened. Between 1965 and 1973, inflation more than doubled. The war didn't just drain resources, it destabilized the dollar itself, and that created a global problem. After World War II, the global economy operated under the Bretton Woods system. The US dollar was backed by gold. Foreign governments could exchange dollars for gold at $35 per ounce. But Vietnam changed the math. As America printed more money to finance war and domestic programs, foreign governments grew suspicious. They started demanding gold in exchange for their dollars. Gold reserves began shrinking, and in 1971, President Richard Nixon made a historic decision. He ended dollar convertibility into gold. The gold standard was dead. The dollar became backed by nothing but confidence, and the modern fiat era was born. Vietnam didn't just cost money, it reshaped the global monetary system. When the dollar left gold, it needed a new anchor. That anchor became oil. In the 1970s, the United States negotiated with Saudi Arabia. Oil would be priced in dollars. In exchange, America would provide military protection. Thus began the petrodollar system. Vietnam indirectly accelerated this transformation. War spending weakened gold backing. The collapse forced a new structure. Financial power didn't disappear, it evolved. But the transition wasn't painless. The 1970s became an era of stagflation, high inflation, and slow growth. America's economic dominance wobbled. Trust had been damaged. Wars are fought abroad, but paid for at home. The Vietnam War contributed to rising federal deficits, social unrest, distrust in government, a generation skeptical of institutions. Markets react to psychology, and during Vietnam, confidence cracked. The war exposed a simple truth. You can borrow money, you cannot borrow legitimacy. When people ask, how much did Vietnam cost? They usually mean dollars. But the real cost was structural. It ended the gold standard. It ushered in the era of fiat money. It contributed to inflationary instability. It reshaped oil politics. And it changed how America funds wars forever. Today, every major conflict is financed the same way. Borrow first, pay later, roll the debt forward. Vietnam wasn't just a military turning point, it was a financial turning point. And the system we live in today, floating currencies, permanent deficits, central bank dominance, was forged in that fire. History doesn't just leave scars on battlefields, it leaves them on balance sheets. And sometimes, those scars last longer than the war itself.